Hi TinkerCAD Challengers. It is the month of January, and this month we're going to be making puzzle. In the tutorial, you're going to learn how to make the holder piece as well as making the individual pieces. Overall, this is a great starting TinkerCAD challenge for those who have never done it before. And what I'm going to show you is the holder and then how to make 9 pieces for your puzzle. Now, you're welcome to do a music theme puzzle like I did, or you can basically make your puzzle any way you want to. I did want to keep it relatively flat, and I do want to ask you do too, because it's just a lot easier to print out and work with a little more. And I do want to note that this guitar here, in the video I actually had it as a flute. But as I was printing it out, I was realizing that the flute wasn't printing out right, so I changed it to a guitar. So if you were confused why the flute isn't showing up, that is why. So there are occasional times where the 3D printer and some of the 3D files, or just the way it's going to print, it might have some kind of sizing issue. So just so you're aware of that, if there ever is an issue where your sizing doesn't work out with the 3D printer, I will let you know and then offer some suggestions on how you can correct that and still get a nice 3D print out of this. But overall, this is a fun project, and if you have any questions or you want to do one-on-one, contact me through my email. Otherwise, I hope you have a great January and enjoy TinkerCAD for this month. .3D design, and I'm going to change my file name just to remember what we are working on. And this one, I'm putting my initials and naming it puzzle. All right. So this particular puzzle, the first thing we're going to do is going to be composed of a couple of elements. There's going to be a holder, which I will show you how to make in just a moment. And then there's going to be the overall puzzle itself. So essentially, you're going to be putting the pieces in the holder, assembling the puzzle that way. So to get started, grab a box, and we're going to drag it onto the plane. And I will work in the toolbox at this moment and change the length to be 200, 8, and then the width to also be 200. So it's just going to be a large square. Let me zoom out a little bit. Okay, so it's pretty big. Now we're going to duplicate this. So I'm going to just click on the duplicate. I'm going to rotate my camera just a bit so you can see that I'm going to grab the caret and move it up. And we're going to change this portion to be 190, 190. So the length and width is going to be 190, and the height will stay the same. Now what we want to do is, I did move it up, so let me change this back to 0 so you can, let's see. Okay, so right now it's a -4, so we're going to move it up to 0. And what I'm doing is I'm just making sure that we are forming a bottom piece to the holder so that it has enough thickness. So moving up 4 will guarantee to have a thickness at the bottom of 4. You can see I clicked on the hole in the toolbox, and you can see that the overall box, the hole is centered perfectly. You shouldn't have to move it because once you change the size, it will just get smaller. All right, so I'm going to we'll select both. So I'm going to click on the hole, hold Shift, click on the holder, group the objects, and you'll see that we created a little holder. Okay, so this part is super easy. Now I'm going to backtrack one more, so I'm going to undo, and I'm actually going to click on the whole part of the box and duplicate this, and I'm going to move this up just out of the way. And once again, select both the hole from the holder and then the holder itself, and then group them. So I'm going to actually just use this. This is going to be the puzzle. So we're going to change this to solid. And we're going to make this slightly smaller. So the width is going to be 189. So we're just going to make it 1 millimeter less. And the length is going to be 189, and then the width is going to be 189 as well. The reason why is because once you build something, you want to just have it slightly smaller so that it fits inside. If it were to be the same size, they just wouldn't go in the box. They would just hit the edges, just so you're aware of. And then you don't have to do much in terms of like shaving the sides or anything. That's already done for you. So just for the moment, I'm going to hide the holder. I just clicked on the little light bulb, and if you want to show everything again, just click on the light bulb and it'll appear. I'm going to hide this for now because I want to work on the puzzle. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a sliver of a whole box. So I'm grabbing the whole box, which is the gray stripe one. If you end up grabbing this one, all you have to do is just change the setting. Now we're going to make so I'm making it 200, and then the width we're going to change to, let's do the thickness 1 millimeter. See, so what this is going to do, this is just going to cut the puzzle pieces out because we want to make sure they're separated. So we have this ready. I'm going to home this. Now you can virtually make as many as you want. For this, I'm just going to make 9 square pieces. I also want to make sure they are as even as possible. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make, just changing my snap grid to 5 millimeters. We'll start from the end here. Okay, so now we have the whole slot at the edge of the box. I'm just double checking to make sure. It's a little bit off, but that's fine. Now I'm going to hit the home key just to see this a little better. Make that smaller. Now that I had the hole selected, I changed the snap grid to brick, and we're going to count 8 times. So 1, I'm hitting the right arrow key on the keyboard as I'm doing this, and it should be snapping to each brick, which is these right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, and now I'm going to duplicate that. It's going to make the same exact copy, and it's going to be the same spot, and all we have to do is the same thing with the right arrow, just hit 8 times. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that side's done. Now we're going to do this. I'm going to duplicate this and just bring this over. We have to rotate this 90 degrees. So, or negative 90 in this case. I'm going to make sure that is at the edge. Okay. Just going to make sure I get this a little bit closer. Okay. Turn this back around. In home key, just to get a clearer picture, click in a brick. So now I'm going to hit from this camera, we're going to hit the down key, so you see it's going to move it forward. The down key moves things forward, the up key moves things backwards. Okay, so we're going to do this again, hit the down key, I hit it once, make sure your snap grid's on brick, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now make sure this is selected and duplicate this, and then it'll duplicate the same one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so this is essentially going to be your box inside the holder. These are all the puzzle pieces. You could make more puzzle pieces if you want to. You could even try to change up some of the shapes. But for right now, to start off with, this would be a good starting point, and especially for those who are new at TinkerCAD, this would be a great challenge for you, just to try out TinkerCAD and get your feet wet. Okay, so here's the fun part of this. You can design what you want your puzzle to be on the surface. So every puzzles, they have different designs, pictures, things like in this term, because it is 3D, we can choose some 3D objects. And you can make yours a whole theme. So I'm going to make mine a music theme. So I'm dragging out a trumpet right now. Should be there. I think it might be too small. Where'd it go? Maybe I'll try and move it out here. Okay, there it is. Now, what I want to do with this, so I want to make sure that my trumpet is sideways and kind of embedded in the puzzle a little bit. Oh, I forgot I got to switch the snap guard off brick. So I'm going to put 0.5 millimeters, and then it allows me to change up a little bit. Okay, so I got my trumpet. I'm going to try the saxophone. Just rotating this a little bit. And I'm turning sideways just to make sure I rotate it the way I want to. I'm realizing the saxophone, that side is not as cool as this side, so I'm going to rotate it back around. Sometimes when you rotate things, it might be slightly like not leveled, so I'm just going back and checking all this and making sure I get it as straight as possible. You don't have to though, but that's just my preference. Turn this, and let me get a drum in there. I think I'll just leave the drum like this. Change some of the sizing. Flute. Flute's down there, so I'm going to make sure I pull it up a little bit. Once again, I want it to be rotated another way, so you can see all the you can see the keys a little better. Okay, I'm throwing this keyboard. So I'm just throwing in random music objects. You can make like a whole you can make yours look a little nicer. You can make a whole scene, but this is what I'm going to do for mine. Just trying to see what it looks like, and then kind of go from there. Just while you're doing this, just avoid touching all of the separators for the puzzle. If you happen to move them, you can always do the undo, and that would bring it back. Let me see if I can find anything. Music, maybe there's music symbols. Exactly, here we go. So this is kind of adding some of these in. I'm just going to duplicate and just throw a bunch of music symbols everywhere. Okay, so now I'm all done with my puzzle. I am selecting everything, so the way I select it is click and drag. I realized as I'm working on this, I have a duplicate of the board, so I just want to make sure I get rid of that. I double checked to make sure there wasn't another one. And now I'm going to click and drag and group everything. So it's still running, might take a moment because it's trying to configure everything and figure out what needs to be taken away. Depending on how much stuff you have, it might take a little while. Okay, so finally figured it all out. So this is one big puzzle piece. All right, so I'm going to hit the light bulb, show my holder, and just adjust it like this. And there you go. That is how you make a puzzle. Now remember again, this will all be one color, so whatever color you choose, please let me know once you're done. And I hope you enjoy this TinkerCAD puzzle. If you want to try a tic-tac-toe board, I have one from last year for January as well, so take a look at that. Otherwise, I hope you have fun tinkering and make some great puzzles. Thanks.